Thanks again for staying with us on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television, TMI. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun, your host to the most in today's show. The 2023 election has been described as a watershed as far as election is concerned in this country, against the background of where the country is coming from, particularly in the last 7.5 years, where it is today, and where the country ought to be going. And as is always the case, we have individuals and political parties creating platforms, exploring the opportunities to take over the mantle of leadership from the incumbent president, Muhammadu Buhari. In today's program, we're x-raying the chances of political parties and their candidates, especially at the presidential elections come 25th of February, 2023. Against that background too, we'll be looking at the pedigrees, the antecedents, and the histories in terms of governance impacts. Well, I mean, whatever level that these guys that we have, especially the front runners, they perform or they function at governance level, what impact did they make? To what extent can we trust them with a mantle of leadership? These are many burning questions we'll be asking in the next couple of minutes. I want to say big thanks to all our panelists. From Lagos, we have Barrister Yusufu Abubakar, who is a spokesperson of the NNPP candidate in the 2023 election. Barrister Yusufu, thank you for joining us on TMI.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me again.
Okay, also from Lagos, we have a public affairs commentator, a political analyst, Idris Zakari. Idris, thank you for joining us on TMI.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a delight to come and share my thoughts with Nigerians here.
Yeah, Idris, you've always had one disposition, which is that if you find a candidate whose philosophies resonates with you, you pitch your tent with such a candidate. We heard you are pitching your tent with Peter Obi of the Labour Party. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
nowhere else to be.
All right, we'll get back to you on that. Also with us here in the studio, in our Benin studio, I've got Fares Okbari, who is a member of the Edo State PDP Campaign Council. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Faraz, you're a bit quiet and calm. I don't know you to be that. Is the cold too much in the studio?
No, it's not.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And we've got Engineer Esosa Omorogbe, who was a former House of Representative candidate, is a member of the APC. Or has that changed?
No, not
okay.
at all.
All right. No, we asked this question so we know exactly where we are, and then we know how to engage the issues. Let me start from Lagos, where we have Barrister Yusufu and Idris Zakari. Let me begin with you, Barrister Yusufu. I've heard people say this a number of times, and I'm sure you want to agree with them that the 2023 election is a watershed for Nigeria. Does this resonate with you?
Definitely. Watershed, a defining moment. This is the period where we are going to take a decision whether we are to see it as an entity or we are to reverse into retrogression of it. It's also a position or time where we are going to make a part. It's a generational decision we are making now. It's either you are going to be part of the main history or you want to choose to belong to the footpath that will soon be spread into the dust of opportunities. So it's a defining moment and it's also a watershed.
Okay, we'll just try as much as possible to ensure that we have your camera focused on you. Whoever is managing your camera right now should just ensure that we see you alone, sir. Thank you very much, Barrister Yusufu. Okay, let's get Idris in. Idris, yes, this philosophical statement about 2023 being a watershed, how does that go with you as well?
I want to bring it a little bit down. I want to beat it down a bit. It is a fight for the lives of Nigerians. It is a battle to rescue Nigerians from the pillagers, from the hawks, from the devourers fight to dismantle the structure of criminality, the structure of wire theft, the structure of corruption, the structure of maladministration, the structure of out-of-school children, the structure of unemployment, and the structure of confusion. It is to take Nigeria away from that structure and give it back to Nigerians. It is a fight to take Nigeria away from the 1%ers who are living fat on the collective patrimony of Nigerians and take it back, give it back to the 99%ers who are bearing the brunt and frustration of having inept, incompetent, and confused political parties on board since 1999. That is the battle we face in 2023. So
all right.
It is not just a watershed, it is a fight for our lives. All right,
let's pursue there, Idris. Fares, tell us what makes 2023 so significant to you?
Yes, looking at where we are coming from in the last few years, you can tell that Nigerians are tired. And this year, this election will be very important because it will define where Nigeria will be in the next couple of years. And if we don't get it right, if we don't realistically redefine what we want as a nation, then it will be very worse for us. Today, we are faced with so many challenges: insecurity at all levels, poor infrastructure, poor healthcare. Our people are leaving the country. We are experiencing
in droves.
Yes, brain drain. Nigerians are suffering. We cannot deny that. Nigerians are suffering. The larger majority of Nigerians are wallowing in poverty.
Okay.
While a very few, which are not up to 1% of Nigerians in this country, are living in exorbitant wealth. And there's a disconnect. Nigerians are starting to see that there's a huge disconnect between the poor and the rich. So Nigerians are tired. And if you see that the way the young people are eager this year to get involved in the process of this election, to get registered, to collect their PVCs, the hunger in them, you know that this election will be the most important of every elections in our history in this country.
Okay. Sosa, let's get your take on this.
I very much agree with most of the speakers today that the 2023 election is a very, very important election in the history of Nigeria. I think it will be a national statement by Nigerians if we want to rescue Nigeria from vampires, political vampires that is, and predators, those that have been pillaging the country like Idris said, and then give Nigeria to a visionaire, somebody that has the vision to take us out of poverty, like Fares has said, somebody that has the vision to bring Nigerians together, and somebody that has the vision to create a better future for the next generation.
So that brings us to the kernel of our conversation today. Who is this person that has the capacity to take Nigeria from where it is now to where it ought to be going, to the expected destination that is devoid of poor infrastructure, that is devoid of hunger and poverty, that is devoid of poor education, and all of those KPIs that have continued to paint us in bad light or project the country in bad light to the outside world? Who is this person? Who is this person? Which of the political parties has that capacity to drive Nigeria to El Let me begin with you again, Barrister Yusufu. Who is this person?
No doubt about it. He's the presidential candidate of NNPP. Also, Rabi. And if you look at his trajectory,
a bit of a technical hitch there. We just hope that we'll be able to get that sorted out as soon as possible so we can continue the conversation with Barrister Yusufu, who is one of the spokespersons to the NNPP presidential candidate, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. And against the background that we're also relying on that platform, Idris will most likely be affected by that technical hitch. But we hope to be able to establish contact with them, and then we'll continue with the conversation. But let me get back to our panelists in the studio here. So that seems to be...
Recording in progress.
Okay, so we got him back now. Yes, sir. Sir Yusuf, please go ahead.
Very well. We are not too profuse in social media and even the mainstream media. But if you look at Kano State, take Kano State as a prototype, discover that Rabi Musa Kwankwaso have not matched them. If you start from the economy, discover that even the so-called treasury, single treasury accounts and e-payment started from Kano. The federal government copied from that prototype. That is why Kano's economy tomorrow is booming. In terms of the rich, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso is perhaps the only person in the race today that sees Nigeria from the spectacles of profound materialism. What do I mean by this? If you look at this miracle is the attempt by this man to take 4 students per state, 4 times 36, and they are all in Mira International School, Abuja. If you are in doubt, please cross-check. And they have been paying their school fees, not confined to Mira Miracle. You can go to your Canadian school in Benin. You can go to other schools, other private schools. You will definitely see the footprint of this iconic man. And indeed, what is going for him is that he's from the poor, and he has always lived in the poor. He says he came back from UK about 10 years ago. He has not left the shores of this country. But perhaps will not really be too profound, so to say, both the mainstream and social media. But he stands there like a colossus, like an icon.
Okay.
That is why he does not suffer from gluttony, and that's why it's difficult to really convince the Kopasiya people that we should take the taxes in any country.
So you are, in effect, you are saying that he's not visible in social media and the mainstream media. Is that not a minus for his political aspiration?
No, at all. We don't believe in this. We don't believe in buying books, popularity in this social and the mainstream.
Okay.
What we have done in the past speaks volume of what we can do in the present and even in the future.
Okay, I'll pause you there, Barrister Yusufu. I'll pause you there. Idris, yes, talk to us about the presidential candidates. Apparently, you're going to be very positive when it comes to the man that you're supporting. But there are questions about his pedigree, historical impact, antecedents, especially with the fact that he's been a former governor before, and this is the first time he's going into the national politics, as it were. There's been talks about lack of political structure. We have seen that in some of the rallies, campaigns that have been carried out by his party in recent time. Isn't this a big minus to that political aspirations?
Well, thank you very much. The only way to predict the future, I believe you can hear me loud and clear, because I don't want Nigerians to miss any line in some of these stuff I've shared. The only way to predict the future is to look at the past. Apart from looking at the past, you must also look at the character of the individual you are marketing. You must look at his competence. You must look at his exposure. And on top of all this, you must look at his behavior in office, his corruption perception index. Now, let me quickly talk about the man, Peter Gregory Obi. Peter Gregory Obi, among all the candidates, is the man who has made public wealth, generated and created public wealth, and also generated and created private wealth. He started his business as a trader, he dovetailed into banking, he dovetailed into securities and exchange, and finally dovetailed into creation of public wealth. You know, what we have in Nigerians is that politicians go into offices, create wealth for themselves. Peter Obi went into office and created wealth for the public. Having said that, if you also look at education, I think by my own standard, by my own appreciation of education, he is the most educated and the most exposed. Well, people can brandish PhDs and professorial degree for all I care, but a man who has been to the top universities, the cream de la cream of universities in the world. You can talk about Kellogg, you can talk about Harvard, you can talk about Cambridge, You can go on and on and on. He's an alumnus in those universities. He's a man that should not be touched when it comes to his education. Also, let us quickly talk about what he did when he was governor, because I told you that the only way to predict the future is to look at the past. When he was governor of Anambra, his impact in the health, in the education of children, of young people in Anambra is visible for all to see. People can come here and say, my candidate will do all the miracles in the world. But the only way to measure is to look at the records. When he was governor of Anambra, he was able to move Anambra from number 26th in WAEC and NECO to number 1 within a space of 3 years. This is unprecedented. This is something that blows the mind. Also, in Earth, UNDP ranked the number 1 governor in terms of the fulfillment of Millennium Development Goals, which every other state in Nigeria failed, including the federal government of Nigeria. He was ranked number 1. When you talk about wealth creation, I've said it on this platform before and I want to repeat it. Anambra today has the highest number of middle-class citizens in Nigeria. It is not a miracle. It is something that has been built over time. Anambra has some of the least numbers in terms of poverty in Nigeria. I don't know if any other candidate can come and boast of that here on any other.
Was Peter Obi responsible for this data that you just read out?
Of course.
The middle class here, was he responsible?
He gave seats to the Igbo apprenticeship system in Anambra State.
Okay.
He also, during his time in Anambra, he turned Nnewi to an industrial hub. People talk about Lagos. I know somebody will mention Lagos because of this conversation. Lagos has been existing since 18 or something under the British. But under him, he brought out development in Anambra and turned Anambra into an industrial hub.
Okay.
We talked about structure, so that I don't exhaust my time talking about Peter Obi, because the candidate of Peter Obi is out there for everybody to see. They can measure it. You talked about structure and the Labour Party not having structure. And we have said it abundantly and want to repeat it. It is that structure that we have come to destroy. The structure of incompetence, the structure of political lies, the structure of poverty, the structure of taking Nigeria from top to bottom, the structure of looting, pillaging, deception, the structure of ethnocentrism,
okay.
the structure of religiosity.
All right, let me pause you there, Idris. I'll be back with you in a moment. We still have a bit of time, so you don't exhaust all the points that you want to make in one first.
We can never exhaust it.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Fares, you represent the PDP on this panel. This election, is the PDP a hard sell against the background of the party's antecedents?
Well, the PDP is not a perfect party. Let's start from there. And like every other political parties in Nigeria, we've had our ups and downs. But what we also have is a history that you can look at and say, okay, this is where the PDP is coming from. The foundation of what we call our democracy today was literally established by the PDP in terms of every person you see who is either aspiring. I heard my brother talking about Peter Obi or something. Peter Obi was a product, or recently a product of the PDP who just left the PDP not quite long ago. So it shows where the PDP is coming from.
What are the chances of the party in this election?
Well, the truth is that this election is going to be a very close election. Let's not try to be too political about it. Nobody can categorically tell you today, as it is right now, that Party A will do this or Party B will do this. I like to be very realistic. This election will be very close. But what Nigerians should be more interested in, what Nigerians should be more concerned about, are the issues. And that is where I have concern. Because there seems to be less talk of the issues that Nigerians are facing today. And nobody's talking about it. We are not talking about it enough. The issues remains that we are having serious brain drain. Millions of Nigerians are leaving this country in the name of what they call Jakba. Millions of Nigerians are struggling to leave the country. That's a disaster. Now, in the last 8 years, Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world. That's a disaster. If you go to the north, we have over 10 million out-of-school children. That's almost the size of Senegal. That's a disaster. So issues of unemployment, we haven't even gone there. We've I think we're about 33% of unemployment rate in Nigeria currently. That's a disaster. And my biggest concern is that we're not talking about these things. We're only talking about, oh, the candidate of the PDP is this, the candidate of the APC is that, candidate of Labour is this and that. But are Nigerians, are we really putting more effort to look at the issues? And looking at the issues and say, okay, who do we have amongst these candidates that can really address this issue? Provide the kind of leadership that Nigerians are yearning for. Those are the issues. It's not just about the PDP or the APC. The PDP has a history. Where the PDP is coming from, we can always say that when the PDP came, look at what we meant on ground, look at where we left, when PDP left in 2015. Okay. Can we say it's where the PDP left in 2015 that we've seen any improvement within that time? And now, in terms of healthcare, in terms of infrastructure, would you as an Edo person say right now that you can travel within any of the federal roads in Edo State today? Any of the federal roads, can you say you can travel in any federal roads and arrive your destination without the fear of being kidnapped or without having to go and take a paracetamol because of the bad conditions of the road? Can you say that? Can you look at these roads in 2014? Can you wind your memory back in 2014? Look at how these roads were in 2014 and how they are now. They go to the institutions. Can you say that the children who stayed almost 1 year recently, who stayed almost 1 year at home due to ASU strike, are you saying that those are improvements that we should be proud of as a nation? No. So where we are today is we have been dragged back.
Okay. All right. Engineer Sosa, let's get your take on this against the background of the fact that the most recent benchmark we can use in trying to make comparison with other presidential candidates is your party and your party's presidential candidates against the background of where we are today. Isn't this also a hard sell to Nigerians when it comes to campaigns and mobilization?
Well, it will not be a hard sell. My party will not be a hard sell, and my presidential candidate will not be a hard sell to Nigerians. First and foremost, President Muhammadu Buhari is not on the ballot in the 2023 elections. Nigerians have the chance to either vote or vote out President Muhammadu Buhari twice. In 2015, Nigerians massively voted for him according to statistics and according to results as legally declared for that matter. In 2019, the same thing, Nigerians came out en masse and they voted for President Muhammadu Buhari. Either if you count him as a success or you reckon him as a failure, Nigerians chose to vote for him. So as of today, President Muhammadu Buhari is not on the ballots. Now, what are the issues that are bedeviling Nigerians pre-2023 elections? Yeah. Some of them are insecurity. Some of them are economic backwardness and what have you, infrastructural decay. We cannot take all of those away from the table. That is the reality. Anybody that will come and say something else will be lying to Nigerians, and I wouldn't want to be guilty of that. However, who is the person that will be able to fix all of these? Who is the person that has the political will and pedigree to change all of these? That is the question that Nigerians should be asking. First and foremost, let me establish this. You cannot dismiss any of the political candidates like my friend and brother Idris is trying to do. I think that would be politically suicidal on any of the presidential candidates. They all have their histories, they all have their pedigrees, they all have their positives, and they also have their shortcomings. That's the truth of the matter. But let us go to my presidential candidate in person of former Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has served as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is the experience. He has served as the governor of Lagos State. What happened when he was governor? Was Lagos safe? under Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Yes. Where was what created in Lagos State under Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Yes, it was. Where people made, you know, the ability to be able to galvanize people, galvanize ideas, whether Lagos under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we had Igbos winning elections. You know, there was a level playing field. Okay. And as of today, in the political terrain, you can point to X, Y, Z. You can point to the Badabiamilas of this world. You can point to the Rauf Arigbeshola of this world as product and so on and so forth.
These are individuals.
Yeah, these are individuals.
Not institutions.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where I'm going to.
Yeah.
I've talked about security. Okay. I've talked about economic growth that is creating wealth. Now, when you talk about institution does not just exist in a vacuum. It is people that make up institution. ITV is what it is today because people like Sonny Duke Okosun are giving their best as one of the best journalists in Nigeria. That's the simple fact. So you cannot extricate the individuals from the institution. Okay. So this man has been able to bring people on board. People with brains, okay. Whether we like it or not, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today is a product of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So he is going to replicate same. He is going to use the human resources of Nigeria, galvanize them. He has said it in all his campaigns that what is it that is peculiar to your region? What is it that you have in abundance in your state? I will galvanize all of this because I've done it before and I will do it again.
All right, Barrister
Tinubu is the man.
Barrister Yusufu, you've been smiling. That means you're following the conversation. Talk to us about the antecedents of the APC and the PDP against the background that your principal has seen both sides, both worlds. In fact, in one of the interviews he granted here last week, he said that he was once in PDP, was one of the governors that mobilized against the party, and in 2015, himself alongside other governors moved to the APC. Now he's left the APC, he's now in NNPP. Some would easily say that, look, it's part of the problem of Nigeria based on where we are today. I'd like to get your comment on that. The antecedents of PDP, APC, and then your principal coming from those two parties, is he going to offer anything different?
Yes. You'll discover that I am smiling all this while because at the NNPP we are advised and admonished by a leader who coincidentally is also my teacher, Rabbi Musa Kwakwaso, not to criticize sharply. And also, it tells us every time that the best way to win an argument is to present the superior argument, not necessarily to attack characters. But there's no way you can really discuss this thing or scholarly without bringing to form before the public the position of these political parties. We discovered that both the PDP and APC, they are tormentors of the past. And experience is the best teacher. If the PDP were to be very good, I don't think they would have been voted out in the first place. So I'm even jolted when the guy representing PDP said that the infrastructure on the ground speaks volume or speaks to the fact that PDP has excelled. I beg to disagree with this. Then the APC that is also in government now, we discovered that it's a hard sell, like you said in your intro, to sell. So between the PDP and the APC, like I've told them before, it's like choosing between Otakapia and Sniper. The truth is that, yes. The truth is that the PDP, with due respect, is really reflecting a broken moral compass, while the APC is a damaged brand. And before I move on, to say one or two things about the Labour, I also enjoyed the read out of the man in Lagos representing the Labour Party. Just, it excites me, and I'm still very excited. But we should realize that in Benin, he said before the masquerade goes out to dance, you must be able to convince your own world that you dance very well. Peter Obi in the Southeast is not so much at home, but this is part of the problem, the Confasia movement. Our motto is Amana. That is the truth. You realize that the first person that was brandished in Anambra State supporting Peter Obi is Atoeze. I was surprised when Atoeze came after about 1 month to say that he has told Obi to step down. I know that this is not the decision of Atoeze, it belongs to the proper people. But in NPP, we don't really talk the headlines and we don't really go as far as telling what does not exist. So beyond their ideological sermonizing and true puppeteering, NPP stands out in the sense that Amana or truth is part of our idea. And what like I've read out before in some of my interviews, we have this five-finger philosophy, which is contained in our manifesto, which is about 155 pages.
Okay.
But I can congeal it in this five-finger philosophy. It goes across social regeneration, economic determinism, mental emancipation, political resurgimento, and even spiritual habits.
Okay.
So, like I said, we are not really competing.
Okay, let me pause you there. Let me pause you there, Vice Yusufu. Idris, yeah. Let me get you in, particularly looking at the chances of the candidates in the elections proper. The talks that the Labour Party candidate who you're supporting, there seems to be a challenge at home, back home, in terms of where he's from and the level of support that he's enjoying. Take that and hold on to that. Give us your take on the front runners, the traditional front runners in elections, in terms of the impact that they've made and how they're able to galvanize their mobilization for the elections proper.
Well, I want to speak to the fact that Peter Obi is not only in the home of every Nigerian, he's now in the heart of every Nigerian. So the suggestion that Peter Obi is not at home in the Southeast is what it is, just a suggestion. I think when you go out in the streets, in the Southeast, in the South-South, in the North-Central, here in the Southwest, I dare to say the Northeast and the Northwest, you see that Peter Obi is almost everywhere. It's humongous, it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere, and it's pulling the weight, especially of young Nigerians, of educated Nigerians, of Nigerians in the diaspora, of people who want to see a better country for themselves and for every other person. Now, you asked the second question. The second level of the question, please kindly remind me the second level of the question.
Yes, I want to look at the chances of the political parties, your party and the rest.
Absolutely. I think PDP and APC should not even bother campaigning. They should go back home, have a sober reflection, and apologize to Nigeria. We have given them 22 years of our lives, 22 years of our lives, to make the necessary impact, to make the necessary change, and to redirect this country. Somebody said in the studio that the PDP started our democracy. No, they did not. The PDP are the ultimate beneficiary of the democracy that was given to us by the military. And they have mismanaged this privileged position, and they've looted this country out of the world map. Same with the APC. Because if you consider the fact that 90% of Nigerian oil today is stolen, it shows you the character of people who populate this political party. So like I said before, they should go back home. They should go to a place like Indonesia, meet with all those sutras and all those gods and the Gandhis, and have a sober reflection and repent of their sins before coming to talk to Nigerians. Now, talk to our father, our elder brother in the NNPP, because I think NNPP is the only other credible alternative to Labour Party in this election. There is no election between the next election between Nigerians versus APC and PDP. So they should not even bother talking. So the candidate of the NNPP, as decent as he is, I think we also have to bring our minds to the fact that Nigeria is a multi-ethnic, a multi-religion, and a diverse country. Having a man from Katsina do 8 years of leadership, and then a man from Kano wants to take over from him, it's like having a man from Oredo do 8 years as governor, and a man from Okwe inside Loreto wants to go another 8 years as governor. So as I know people, I think we can relate more with this. So I think that alone, it brings to question why we don't want to discuss ethnicity and religion. It is important that we know that for you to unite the country, every other part of the country must be carried along. And Section 14, Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution states it obviously that no ethnicity, no religion, no section should dominate over any other section of the country. Okay. That is why we have a democracy and we have a country to live. Now, in terms of the chances of this political party, in every home in the Southeast, in every school in the Southeast, the next most important thing, apart from the Catholic Church and Jesus Christ, is Peter Obi. That is it. It's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's known. Okay. In the South, Edo, where we come from, and you know Edo is a swing state. Edo is always voting opposite where every other person votes. Edo, in the streets of Edo, Peter Obi has taken over. Here in Lagos, they are now denying people collection of PVCs because they know that if you are not people collect PVCs the way they are collecting, even the Godfather himself, the Jagaban Boku, will lose his home front. When you talk about the North Central, the states of Benue, the states of Plateau, in the North is the states of Taraba, Abuja, Nasarawa, Kogi, Kwara, we are everywhere. Okay. In the Northwest and the Northeast, which is the traditional stronghold of the two parties that want to dismantle the structure, the two structural parties that want to dismantle. We are now entering. All right,
Idris, I will pause you there so we can explore and exploit the remaining time that we have. I'll come back to you, Idris. I'll come back to you. Yes, Barrister Abubakar, you were saying something.
Yes, you see, let me quickly just speak to the issue of referring to my teacher and my boss, Rabbi Professor. That's as regards coming from the north and all that.
Yes.
So that, yes, close, true enough, we are very close to Labour. We had discussions in the past for a better, but as far as that stage, we are going to be close now. The other problem we have, the slight problem we have is allegiance to particular of the PDP. It was his running mate. So we see them as best of the same feather. We see them as capitalist vampires that they are living on borrowed times. That's why my principal took a backstage in a discussion.
Okay.
So if we can really detoxify from this capitalist orientation, you'll be a very good candidate. And if you can come back, I want you to come back to NMPP so that it can be part and parcel of the change.
All right, Idris, do you see that happening, Idris?
Well, I think you cannot ask a man who has 100 or a man who has 99 to add this 99 to a man who has 1. So it's the man who has 1 that will bring his 1 and add to Labour Party's 99. So I have said it before, the Rabbi Musa Kwankwas is a decent man by every standard. I identify with the Kwankwasia movement where I see the Kwankwasia Amana, but they have to bring their 1%, add it to our 99% so that we can collectively save this country from the twin monster, the two leprous finger of PDP and APC.
Okay, let me pause it there, Idris. Thank you. Fares, I'd like both of you to look at a very critical part of our conversation.
I'm hoping we'll get the time.
Exactly why I'm coming here now. Exactly why I'm coming here now. I know there are a lot of things you want to respond to, but in addition, I just want us to key in on the fact that INEC recently gave data on registration strengths for the 6 geopolitical zones. Highest registration, Lagos. Region with the highest registration, I think, Northwest. And then you have Southwest, and then you have North Central. All of these other regions are very, very low. And in terms of mobilization, we know what all of these portend for the election. Let's get to take along those lines. The chances, still talking about the chances of the candidates.
Yes, look, you see, we have to be very realistic when we talk about these things. Elections and votings are about numbers. It's not about sentiment. You can talk all you like, you can do what you like. It still boils down to the numbers. If you don't have the numbers, all the talk will be nonsense. I remember pre-2015, we were here shouting. I was shouting then for my candidate, then President Jonathan. We did all we did and everything. At the end of the day, the numbers came and told a different story.
Okay.
So it's all about the numbers. You see, some people like to talk, while others like to concentrate on getting the numbers. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, INEC is not going to count on the 25th of February. It's not going to count the attacks that you attacked your the other candidates. It's not going to count the TV interviews that you did. What INEC is going to count is the number of people that came out to vote for you. And that is why INEC has told you, look at the numbers, look at the regions. And then looking at the chances of the candidates. Let me, in my own opinion, talk about the candidate of the PDP and the candidate of the APC and candidate of the Labour Party. Because I don't even see any other candidate for now. The candidate of the PDP, we understand the PDP's strongholds. We understand the PDP weaknesses. We all know that in the south of the country, the PDP is formidable. That you can't take away. We know in the southwest of the country, because of the presidential candidate of the APC, the candidate there is very strong. We know that in the north west of the country and in the north east of the country, where the PDP candidate is from, the PDP might also do very well in the northeast of the country. Now, where the election will be won and lost are those states, what we call the swing states, those states that they either vote here today and they vote here tomorrow. Those are the Edos, the Oshuns, the Kogis. We know that the candidate of the Labour Party is from the southeast. Expectedly, he will do well in the southeast. He's expected to do very well in the southeast. Let's not take away sentiments from our politics. We are a country that still votes with so many sentiments. And that sentiment reflects in our voting patterns. So the candidate of the APC is expected to do well in the southwest. The APC is also strong in the north. He might also do well in the north. That you can't take that away. Okay. But the PDP is strong in the south. South. Also has some foothold in the southeast, and then in the north central. So that's why I said before that it's going to be a close race.
The G5 governance issue, is that a major disservice to the PDP in the south?
It is. It is. You can't have a divided front. I've been hoping that these issues would have been looked at and be addressed. You can't go to an election and have governors, very important governors, not aligning with the campaign, not putting in their best for the campaign, not doing anything at all. It doesn't tell well. Okay. I think my party still have the time to go back to the drawing board, address some of these internal crises and resolve it. Because the most important thing that we should be looking at is rescuing Nigeria. Are we happy with the condition of Nigeria today? Nobody's happy.
Absolutely.
Not even the APC is happy. Not even the APC is happy. So nobody is happy with the condition of Nigeria today. I see my friend Idris talking just now. I was here 4 months ago, and Idris was defending the administration of the APC fervently, defending it. I'm surprised that within the last 120 days, he's now throwing support. I'm not even saying he's free to support whoever wants to support.
But it's his right.
When he's saying that the PDP should apologize.
And the APC and the
I'm not. I will speak for the APC because the APC should not even be campaigning in this election.
APC don't be campaigning.
They should be going around all the states of Nigeria and apologizing to Nigerians. But let me respond to what my brother said. He said that the PDP should apologize. The candidate of the Labour Party today was a member of the PDP, a strong member of the PDP, held positions in the PDP. So should he leave his campaign and lead the apologizing team for the PDP? Because he was a member of the PDP. So should he abandon his campaign right now and be going from state to state and apologizing to Nigerians on the role he also played in the PDP?
Okay, let me proceed there, Fares. Yeah. Give us your take, chances of candidates with the numbers from the regions and what have you. Yeah.
Before I go.
No, we don't have much time. Just go straight there, please. Okay.
Well, let me start with this. If like the spokesperson of the NMPP said that choosing between the APC and the PDP is like choosing between the sniper and Otapiapia. Then his presidential candidate is both combined. As ditto the candidate of Fares and the candidate of Idris as well, because they were both in PDP. That said, as of today, if I get my statistic right, the APC controls 22 states in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And all of these governors came in by popular mandates of the people, at least as far as we know. And then the PDP.
Not in Imo anyway.
Yeah, well, except in Imo State, I would consider.
So that would be 21.
That was a Supreme Court judgment.
So that was that would be 21, not 22 now.
I just want to correct the record, so go ahead.
22, 21,
okay.
But they control more states.
Okay.
And as of today, the PDP controls 13 or so, and then 5 are not all.
They're undecided.
They're undecided,
okay.
You know, the
okay.
G5.
Okay.
So going by that statistics, and not only that, like you said, the elections are about numbers. As of today, the APC controls the KKK, the big Ks, the Kano, the Katsina, the Kaduna. And then the APC also controls Lagos. And from the statistic that is available to the public, okay. Lagos has the highest numbers
of registered voters.
Yeah. So if you put all of this together, I can take it for granted that former Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu is already cruising to victory in the next.
Even when the election has not been done. Okay, all right.
I'm speaking to the numbers.
Okay, yes, I'd like you guys to speak to the numbers. Barrister Abubakar, yes, speak to the numbers. I mean, as first, you look at the registered voters in 2019, I think within the region of about over 80 million. In the recently released data by INEC, about 93 voters. North Central, Southwest leading the pack, Lagos leading the pack, and even Northwest, Northeast, and all of those regions leading the packs. What does this portend for the election? Speak to the numbers, yes, and the chances of the candidates.
Yes, thank you so much. This is where we are a bit different. We don't really talk to governors. We are not really talking to governors. We talk to the people. When they talk about controlling 9 states, 21 states, 6 states, and all that, I'm sure they are talking of their strength in terms of their governors and all that. But you don't forget that these governors have performed very well, and they are not supposed to come back at all. And the Kwakwasiya movement, we are directly talking to the people. And like you know, the strength of the people, the law should reflect the strength of the people. Salute should be the supremacy. The people's welfare should be the supreme law of the land. We don't talk to governors, but we talk to the people. I just returned back from Abuja some 4 days ago, and I was in Kwakwasiya's movement when we visited Bauchi, Plateau, Kaduna. The outcome, the outcome of war was mammoth. So we're not talking about the governor. Each governor has just one PVC, one group. We are directly to the people. And that's why you see this type of eviction, this type of ecstasy in support of Kwakwasiya and the Kwakwasiya movement. And with the motto of Amana, that is the truth. That is the guy.
So the numbers don't mean anything. That's the point you're making.
No, it does. But we are saying that the governors, because of their poor performance, they are no longer in charge of their states.
Okay.
It's the people that we are talking directly to.
Okay.
And as I speak with you, 19 states in the north, they are already in the kitty of NNPP. If you don't, whether you like it or not, this is what happens. We don't want to vote in any man that we want to buy for the corridors of Burj Khalifa. He would not be looking at the problems of voting Nigeria. Nor do we want to vote for anybody that is an invalid. So that is why Kwakwasiya is very, very important in driving the NNPP.
Okay.
That's why I will advise my friend. I'm surprised that it's APC in Edo State and Labour at federal level. So it will appear as if is like a mammalian parts. Well-defined mama.
Okay.
So come back
All right, Barrister Yusuf, let me pause it there. Idris.
Labour Party.
Okay.
So that we can take back power from the evil past that refuse to quit the same.
Okay.
They want to dominate the president and solve the future.
All right, Idris, let me pause it there because our time is up. Let's get Idris to quickly speak to the numbers from the registered voters list released by INEC at the presentation last Wednesday. Yeah, what does this mean for the candidates and particularly your candidate?
I am very happy that the APC and the PDP spokesmen are very sober. It's this kind of sobriety that we need from them so that we can make progress. The only thing remaining now is apology, and I'm sure it will come in the course of this program. Now, speaking to the numbers, it is obvious that today, the only man who can thump his hand on his chest, we are not arrogant about it, we are very humble about it, and say it controls up to 3, going to 4 regions in this country is Mr. Peter Gregory of the Labour Party. And somebody talked about the structure and governance. I've told you in the introductory part of this program that this is the evil that we want to dismantle, the structure of corruption. In the Southeast, no other name apart from Obi. And those who are kidding themselves, thinking that they will win in the South in PDP, it's not going to happen. You see, they are poster boy. The poster boy, the best governor in PDP, Wiki, has this abandoned them and left them in the middle of the state. A party structure, the APC and PDP, is the structure that throws out the worst amongst them. So when you have people contesting, good people cannot even progress in those parties. That's why we no longer talk about them. As of today, it is obvious, it is evident that Labour Party will get the highest number of votes cast. The only thing we are working on now is how to get 25% in 24 states, which as of today, by my own calculations, we already have that 25% in 24 states. We will win these elections. Nigerians should not listen to anything apart from the fact that we are going to win these elections. And just to state this for the fact, I am not, I have never been, and I will never be a member of APC. I am not even a member of Labour Party. I am in support, I am a one-man support. I pick the candidate that best resonates with me, and I support that candidate. So that is the fact.
Okay.
PDP, APC, they are in the history and they are in the distant past. NMPP should bring their 1% and add to our 99%. So
All right, gentlemen. Our time is up. I would have loved to continue with this conversation, but whatever has a beginning must have an end. But let me just, for the purpose and for the sake of fairness and equity, come back to our studio here to conclude this conversation. Yeah, we're here now, and I know that there's been some opinion polls conducted, which seems to have favored the Labour Party candidate, and that attracted reactions. We've also seen endorsements from highly placed individuals, particularly former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and we've seen the reaction that all of that has brought. I want you to quickly comment on that before we call it a wrap.
Well, those are normal things that we see with Nigerian elections. It doesn't really translate to anything.
Okay.
We've seen it before. We'll continue to see it in Nigerian politics. What we should be looking at, first of all, is that my brother talked about the Labour Party and how they've already won the election. Well, that's good for him. But the truth is that if you go to states like in Kano, the Labour Party don't even have senatorial candidates there. Let me tell you the implication of all of this. In Edo, for example, we know right now that if you go to Edo North, we know who and who will be canvassing votes for themselves and their candidates. Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
We know that the former governor is the central candidate of the APC there. He's still largely popular in Edo North.
Okay.
He will be canvassing votes for himself and canvassing votes for the APC.
Okay.
Likewise, if you come to Edo South, the candidate of the PDP, Matthew Derekeme, is very grounded, very on ground, will be canvassing votes for himself and canvassing votes for his presidential candidate of the PDP. But when you go outside from Edo to the north, you see that the PDP and the APC and some other parties have both their presidential candidates and the local candidates, because they play a very huge role. They communicate to the people.
Okay.
Many of them do not see the presidential candidate. They go there that day and they vote for the local candidate and they add the presidential votes along with it.
Okay.
But when you don't have those people on ground, then you're just deceiving yourself. And unfortunately, I have nothing against Peter Obi. He is and he still will be a member of the PDP technically. and I don't want to attack somebody who I see as a member of my party who just left temporarily, he's still working for
the PDP. So maybe you borrowed him to the APC, to the Labour Party.
He's still working for the PDP. He's still a member of the PDP. I can bet you that.
Okay.
And I don't want to attack him. So, but let's not over paparize everything.
All right, Engineer Sosa.
Well, I'll just cite two examples, two instances to dismantle what Idris is trying to discredit. Idris is in Lagos, is not on ground. We are on ground and we are grassroots. In 2016, I met with Governor Adams Oshomole. The meeting was facilitated by the former Attorney General of Edo State, in person of Honorable Henry Dagbo. And that was because I am a grassrooter and they wanted to make a deal. But then, whatever happens to that deal...
It's a history now.
Exactly,
okay.
But I stopped...
But what's the point you're driving at with
that?
The
point I'm driving at is this. The governors are on ground, the senators are on ground, the honorables are on ground, the grassrooters are on ground, mobilizing and canvassing for their people. At the end of the day, all of these we can't. And that is why we believe that Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu will become the next president.
Okay, let's get a final word from Barrister Yusufu and Idris quickly. In terms of the participation of the people, Barrister Buka told us a while ago that you're not talking to the governors. You don't have any business with the governors. You're talking directly with the people. But we know that the governors, they have a stronghold on the political structures and the mobilization in Nigeria. Would you retract your position on that? Barrister Yusuf, yeah.
Yeah, me?
Yes.
Hello, I guess that question is for me.
Okay, that question is for you. I wanted you to react to the fact that the governors play a very significant role in our political party mobilization for an election. And you are saying that your party is not talking with the governors, but you're going directly behind the governors to the people. How realistic is this as a political strategy?
Okay, I put the same question to Rabbi Musa Kwakwaso 3 days ago, where it's because in his house, there's really no discrimination. We together, even with the beggars, the have-nots and all that, we together. And what he told me was that it was very subtle. He said, look, presidential spokesperson calls me AY after my name, but I came back from UK about 10 years ago. Since I came back, I've not been able to go back. I've been with my people. In fact, he referred me to, if you are ready, anybody that can write that. He told me the virtue of Pastor Damien of the leper colony in Kuala Lumpur. I want to repeat, Father Damien of the Kuala Lumpur leper colony. He said he was quoting verbatim that those who must lead the people must learn to sleep with the people, eat with them, see their ambition on course. That's his came back, he has not come back.
Okay.
That he has been with these people. And that's why it's very, very popular. Not only in the north, but also in the south.
Okay.
So the matter, I'm going back to Asuro.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Idris, quickly, just cap it up with your final words.
I understand the love that the APC and the PDP and in fact the NPP have for Labour Party by wanting to usurp and say our candidate was once with them at one point or the other. That is history now. We are no longer part of you. We were once blind, now we can see.
I love that true confession. That's a true confession. At least you admitted that you were once blind.
And the colossal embarrassment that APC and PDP has plunged us into. In this next election, like I said, I have not been overconfident. We will win. Nigerians, take your BBC, go out and vote on election day. Don't worry, we will win. Your job is to...
All right, thank you very much, Idris. Thank you. That's a wrap on our discussions today on the program this morning on ITV TMI Monday. Barrister Abubakar, thank you for joining us. Idris, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Faraz, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And Engineer Sosa, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, that's our package for today on the show. On behalf of my colleague, Daniel Praise Osadebe, this is wishing you a great week ahead. Dennis Ofik is standing by for Business Rendezvous in about a minute. Have a beautiful week ahead. Please ensure you get your PVC. Bye for now.